Duh. What did I do? Hello. good good afternoon. It's 2:08 and I'm ready to try again. Let's see what we can do, shall we? Okay, so um what is going on? What did you do? Okay, so where am I? The latest. So if you've been following along in my other channel, Active Mind Games Dev, you probably know that I've been working the last week or two actually since my last update here on getting the back end kind of more fleshed out, and I've completed or implemented to some extent all the services that this game is currently planned for. Now, I expect there'll probably be more as we get to the more advanced um, pay features and stuff like that that might be coming into the game at a point. But as far as the game itself goes, the simulations, the training and coaching and game plan editing and all of that that exists now. It's now I have all the simulation, all the it's not all complete, mind you. All of the services are there, and a lot of the functionality is starting to be hashed out. Quite a bit of the functions for the simulator are now in place, including fatigue and injury statuses, injury updates. We've got all of the actions and playtime actions and what I call them game time actions and route actions, which are the difference between route actions and game time actions is route actions are assigned actions. These are the things these guys are supposed to do. You know, this is the playbook definition, right? And then the game time actions are things that happen during play that, not everybody always takes place in, but you might tackles, passes, actual running, and what you're doing while you're running. Injuries could happen, all kinds of other things that can happen. They're game time actions. Those things are also kind of basically defined. We also have information. The player service now has a staff function, which I'm probably breaking out to. I didn't realize my staff function has 3 Fs. It's staff function, which is fine. Right now, it's mostly medical trainer type stuff. I'm actually thinking I'm going to break that out. I might just call it the medical staff.go instead of staff, because there could be other staff, right? We could have, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe having a coaching staff, maybe a training staff, and it's just a place to put the functions related to those type of actions. That's kind of how that's going to go. It really doesn't. Individually, it's not the players. It's just the kind of things those types of players might do. I haven't decided. There might even be a player.go, which the players will do things. I don't know what, so maybe not. But they're all just under the players. What do you call it? The players service. Now we have the coach service, which is a little bit different. It doesn't actually have like a coaching staff. The coach service really is just about managing the game time calls. It's really all it's defined for. It doesn't do much of anything else. Staff is like the guys that are helping get your guys ready and prepped, and that includes other types of coaches. They're the coaching staff. Maybe the head coach is helping train and read, blah blah blah. But those are all. Everybody's a player, right? So, and I just decided all those are going to be in the player service. There's a couple of modules that are services that I've created that really don't function much as data stores. They don't implement data storage all that much. The biggest thing that, like, the simulator stores game time status. So its job is to put stuff into the database so that if a game were to be terminated, we could reload that data. Also, it's going to be kind of keeping track and storing the player logs, and we can get the game restarted from a state of termination, early termination. Because yes, I am not going to be one of those games. There's many of them out there that actually, if a game dies, you just restart it. Sometimes they'll know that it died and they'll have logged that and they'll say, you know, who was it? I think is it Retro Bowl or was it Big Win? I don't remember. But they actually keep track of games that are restarted, and I don't remember what the effect was, but it has some kind of an effect of some kind. It's like it's on the. I think it's one of their achievements is to a season without restarts or something like that. Yes, we'll have achievements and all that stuff because everybody likes achievements. You know, hey, you won 14 Super Bowls in a row. I don't know, whatever it is. But there'll be the dozens and dozens of that stuff to check off your list of accomplishments, which I think is kind of cool. It's kind of fun. Things that you can knock off while you're going. I mean, everybody likes them, and I'm no exception to that rule. To a point. I mean, some of them might be kind of stupid. I've seen a few of them like, why would I want to do that? Or you know, that seems like a lot of work. Win 999 times in a row or 999 games. It's like, that's a lot of freaking games. I mean, it's a good game, but that's a lot of games. Now, I say that laughing, but I play Marvel Snap, and I've probably played well over 1,000 games, so it's not impossible. Interestingly enough, though, Marvel Snap does not do achievements or accomplishments, do they? I mean, you can move up your collection track, but they don't reward you for accomplishing things throughout. It just occurred to me. Huh. A lot of games give you that. Marvel Snap does not. That's interesting. And those things are like basic gameplay elements. I think almost every game does it. I mean, the other game I used to play a lot last year was Watcher of Realms. They had a massive list. I mean, you had categorical lists, and then you got overall game lists, and I still got things that I'm working my way through on Marvel or on Watcher of Realms, and I haven't fully checked off all of my. Come to think of it, let's go look. I know this is a distraction. I do this, but since this is my. Oh wait, do I not have Watcher of Realms installed? Wait, what? How do I not have what? Wait a minute. I know I have Watcher of Realms installed. I don't have Watcher of Realms installed. Maybe. I know I have it on my phone. But, you know, I had a lot of issues with my phone in recent... or not iPhone, my computer in recent months. Actually, I've been kind of just dealing with it. It still has... The one they sent me still has issues with the Thunderbolt port. But I typically can get through a day... or, you know, with only one, maybe two resets. Luckily, it hasn't happened to me during a stream, although it happened to me right before this. I mean, I was setting up, and the Thunderbolt failed. I'm hoping that that's not a indicator of the day. So, anyway, there's been a lot of progress. I've been knocking off things. I've almost got Simulator finally fully compiling. There's a minor thing I'm adjusting right now, and we'll look at this in a minute. But anyway, so yeah, I plan to have achievements. I don't know what that's going to be under. That might be just a user data thing. It'd probably be a user data thing. I probably won't put it in its own. The thing is about achievements, though, is you have to have things that are actually counting and checking and running. You'll have to have a function that's job is to check achievements, you know, and then what are all, and it'll be like having all of the achievement counters, all the achievement checkers. How many times have you done this? How many times have you done that? Blah, 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 blah. Do this for the first time. Do this for the first time. And what happens when you've done it for the first time? Does that function have no purpose in life anymore? I mean, you're just basically going to have it available. Maybe I think it would be kind of good maybe have all my first time checks be one function so that something runs through them. Because it's not going to run as often, right? I mean, yeah, when people first start playing, or every now and then it'll run through, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to constantly run. I don't know what's better, huh? Keeping them all in one, that they only run when people actually need first-time runs. Sometimes some of that stuff takes a long time to hit. So I don't know. Maybe I do have functions for everything. There'll be a lot of little tests, checking for this and checking for that, and I can just write in a new one and see if I can come up with a way to put an entry into something and what its description is and the trigger so that it can run through. So anyway, that's coming. That's coming. That's when we get there. Hey, if you want to be part of the play testing, I'm going to allow everybody who's a backer of my stream, any of them, any of my streams, if they're interested, I will send a backer code to anybody who backs my streams. That's through Patreon, through my Indiegogo, which I haven't launched the latest one, but if you're interested in that, check out my the link on my Active Mind Games Dev. You can go check that out and say you're going to follow it once I launch it. And then we're ready to go, right? So we're going to be getting that going soon. I haven't decided when. I'm still trying to, build up a little bit of a momentum to give it a chance to fire. But do check out the Indiegogo link in my description as well. Anyway, let's see, where are we? The Indiegogo, if you're interested, I will show it to you here in just a minute. The fun at 5:30 tonight. I get to go. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, I'm gonna be a costume guy. These are these are costume girls, but like this guy. I know it's silly, but I think it'll be kind of fun. It's better than door dashing. I don't mind. Really, people will be like, "Oh, really? That's like really a weird thing to do. Why is it weird?" I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks it's kind of an unusual. I think what's unusual to me is that I was debating this in my mind. In my mind, I do that. Come on, be honest. Who hasn't debated with themselves about things? Oh, that's what that is. Man, I got a lot of crap open here. There, Kieran it. Okay, this is my Indiegogo, and we are. This is my pre-launch page, published on March 3rd. So that was last month. It's been about a month. I haven't launched, but where is it? It says pre-launch discussion. Well, wow, I got one address. Somebody signed up. Nice. That's good. I got one. One is better than none, right? So we'll definitely keep plugging away at this. Hey, check it out. I'm gonna put it in my my link below. Okay, so in my description you can find the link to this page, and to be updated on when I am going to actually launch. This is weird. I don't know what I did. Somehow I put in an image in two different parts of the setup, and it has like a starter image, and then it has the actual image. Don't know. It like puts them on top of each other. Don't ask me why. I don't know what the heck. I'd say that's an Indiegogo flaw, not a me flaw, because they shouldn't be. So I have this, it's like there's an image that sits on top. And I guess because they're different sizes, which is interesting because this one says, you know, should be, I guess the video doesn't have to be a certain size. This one is just different, but I probably should make it the same size as this. I don't know. But besides the point. So I got one person who's followed. Hey, if you are that person, Nintendo, it's probably you, right? No, just kidding. If you are that person, or that, and you come back to check out my streams, do know that I will be sending out an email right before I launch. So I will take care of that. I will notify everybody when I launch. I'm probably going to launch in the next, I don't know, week or two, and just see what miracle happens. So, what else? What else was I going to say? Oh, I was going to show you. So I was talking about Marvel Snap doesn't have, you know, this might not open yet because this, you download it, install it, and then it has a huge update. Watch this. See, yeah, it still has to download the game. I was basically going to download this and show it because I'm planning to put a lot of that kind of stuff in my game. Achievements is what I'm referring to. You know, all the fun stuff where you're trying to go through and you accomplish this and then you accomplish that and then you accomplish this and you get rewards and get junk and get stuff and all the way through. And I think that's kind of cool. I think I'm a fan of those things, but I was saying it's interesting. Most games, or it's a very common thing to have those kind of accomplishments, little achievements that you can meet throughout the game. You know, the first time you do this, or accomplishing this particular difficult thing, or blah blah blah, and it's really really common. Marvel Snap doesn't do it. I was just thinking about it. As much as I play Marvel Snap, they do not have an accomplishments track. There's no first time you win this, or the first time you win with those, or maybe because it's a tough game to do that with, because you're really kind of doing, what's it going to say? You know, win 10 times with an all Avengers squad or something. They'd have to do something like that. Then they have to start categorizing cards, which I don't think they do right now. So even though there may be a bunch of cards like, say, the Guardians of the Galaxy, you can put a deck together with a bunch of Guardians of the Galaxy cards, but they're not grouped in any way. There's no way of saying, hey, let me see all the Guardians of the Galaxy, let me see all the Avengers, let me see all of the Midnight Suns, or anything like that. You can't, none of that's in there. So I think it would be difficult. It's not a game that is, in its current state, set up for accomplishments tracking. But I did just think that I realized they don't do that when so many games do. A lot of games do that, you know. I mean, I think like Diablo does it. All the games I can think of that I play have accomplishment tracks in them of some kind. And I just realized that Marvel Snap is not one of them. And for much as I play it, what do you think, Nintendo? Do you like accomplishments tracks? You know, the things that you get check off as you go, as you're moving through, and you get little rewards for finishing various things along the way. How do you feel about those kind of little perks in a game? And I was just talking about that. Yes, I am. I'm not on the wrong channel. I know I'm not on the Game Devs channel, but I decided I'm going to try to do an occasional update on this channel, which hopefully, if I have anybody who's followed me because of my development on this and didn't realize that I moved to the other channel, they'll get a chance to see me here, maybe catch on and move to the other channel. And maybe I can promote people moving to the channel if they're interested in seeing where this game is going. So some of the stuff I've finished this week, I recently got some staff functions, which I'm actually renaming this because this is going to be the medical staff.go, not go-go. We don't have any go-go things going on here. Yeah, that's fine. I definitely am going to do it. And yeah, I think people like that. I think it will too. the more you can have for people to do. Some games go nuts. Okay, I will say some games are like way over. Like the other day, I logged into my. I hadn't played Watcher of Realms for like 2 or 3 months. Yeah, I figured. Yeah. But the Watcher of Realms, I hadn't played it for a couple of months, and I log in every now and then though because I like the game. I'll get in there and do a few things, and for a while there I was playing every single day for about 5 months, 6 months, but I did finally feel like I was hitting too much of a ceiling with the paywalls and stuff, and I kind of started dropping off and playing less and less, which is what paywalls will do to you. You'll lose players. I'm telling you, game developers, your paywalls might get you some money here and there, but close to your diehards, you're going to lose a lot of people due to paywalls. And there are some games where they just don't function well without the pay elements. I mean, in other words, they have a top as to what you can accomplish. So they need the paywalls to slow you down because there's not a what happens when X, right? I mean, what's going to keep you coming back? If they don't keep making more and more and more harder layers and keep putting stuff on there, you're eventually going to hit a point where you're like, there's nothing to do. So they use the paywalls to slow you down. And yes, there's a cap, and you might see it in the distance, and you're just trying to inch your way in, but the paywalls slow you down. So I get it. It's a way to keep people playing while trying to build up that momentum. But other games like this, a sports game should not ever have a paywall that blocks you from playing, because it's a kind of game, theoretically, if it's an enjoyable game, you could play it forever, right? You should always be able to play it. Like Marvel Snap, it's a fun game. You can play it and you can just keep playing it. And as long as you're not chasing off your player base, remember, games that you play against other people, if you're chasing off your player base because they can't do anything else, there's not going to be people for someone to play, and your game's going to die. Just period. It's going to start to die off. And Marvel Snap has lost a lot of people, not just because of their paywall stuff, because they don't really have paywalls too bad. It's one of the few games out there that does a really good job of mitigating the pay to play or pay to win kind of thing. But still, it's a natural progression. Games will lose a little bit of their people. So how long can you expect a game to be a hit, right? Short of coming out with new versions, new games, new things. Well, I mean, what games have been around for a while that are pay to play and have lasted a long time? There's a few. I'm not saying they don't exist. Legends of Runeterra, that's a League of Legends game. That one's been around for, 6 years, something like that? I think that one's been around for a while. And there's been others. What is that one with the building app they're always advertising on commercials? It's, I forgot what it is. But that one lasts for a while. But I still think pay games, free-to-play games, I think they have a natural barrier to keeping people. So you're either getting new people all the time because it's a really fun game and you replace the people who are losing interest, or you're trying to you're either losing all the people and replacing them, or you're dying. So the question is, what's the best way? Are you going to do like Madden? I mean, there's very few games that you can just release once and keep them alive. I mean, the best ones I can think of, maybe like Warcraft. Diablo's kept their games alive pretty long. Blizzard has kept some of their... Blizzard owns both of those. But they have a lifespan, right? They shoot up. If they're really good at the beginning, they get this huge peak. And then they just kind of... Basically, it's kind of like a hot air balloon with a big leak. They shoot up. They get it up there, but then they kind of start to leak air, and they start coming down. But they just keep cranking in more hot air, and she's trying to keep that puppy afloat for as long as they can. But eventually, it comes down, and it's just hovering. you know, and you hope that you can keep it alive. How long will they last? A lot of the times they like to replace their games, or at least get a new version out within 4, 5, 6 years, right? Warcraft even has done a lot of major upgrades. That's basically new versions, right? Because it's totally different from previous. So what's better? Updates that keep the game fresh, or like Madden, who keeps their game popular by way of just replacing it every year. I would say every couple of years a new version would be good. But I think a well-made game struggles with the idea of coming out with a new game. Right? I mean, rebuilding your game for a new version is tough. Especially if you've made a good game the first time. Because now you're like, okay, well, you learn this, you learn that, you can maybe fix some bugs and tweaks, but those are updates. Creating a more solid version 2 years later, people are going to be like, why would I want this? It's not any different, you know. So I don't know. How many years can you expect your game to be solid? If it's making money, which I'm hoping my game will make a little money, that would be nice. 4 or 5 years? Is that a reasonable time to keep it alive? Enough time to develop another game, right? Get a new one out. Try to get something else that's good. I have 2 games in mind, by the way. Well, this one and one other. I have a huge plan for a different game that I have brewing around in the back of my mind. I've already started mocking out the concept, the play structure, the what it is going to be. It's not a sports game. It's another RPG style. Oh yeah, it'll be good. I don't know. Nintendo, have you ever played AFK games? Classic AFK games. None of that stuff that they're doing now, because nothing that they do now plays like an AFK game. They all say AFK in their title, but they're not AFK. The whole point of an AFK is that the game will run without you. But modern ones, I think, they need to take an approach that I have in mind, that I'm going to build into mine, that keeps you involved, but not requires, that's different from not needing your participation. Millions. Yeah, millions. That would be nice. Anyway, yeah. I'm not saying it's not possible, but you really have to strike lightning to hit millions. Because I have seen a number of games that are pretty dang good that I've heard did very mediocre. And I'm like, yeah. So there's a website that you can go to, and I forgot what it's called. It's in my my market research. What is it? Football Sim Market Research. There is a website. This is one of the sites, Red Zone Action, by the way. If you ever want to look at a football management tool. AFK means away from keyboard. That's what it means. And the premise behind it, people go, well, why would I want to play? Okay, so it's not all. It's kind of like, what would I want to say? There used to be, way back, I'm talking way back. I'm going to date myself a little bit here. Minimum of 20 years ago. These little games, which weren't really games. I mean, these were zero. These were 100% totally autonomous games that you would start and they would run in your task tray. And that's all they did. They just ran. You would create maybe a character, and 100,000 would be nice. You know, if I could make a few 100,000, I can get my Kickstarter launched. That would get me, I can launch the Kickstarter and to start building up my X-Cases that everybody wants me to build more of. I need the money to do that. So 20 years ago, you will be 10. So you're pretty young. I figured you were. But so anyway, 20 years ago, they used to have these little games that you would they run in your task tray, and you could click on it, and it would pop up this it was text based, and there was a little log would pop up, and it would go, adventure encounters goblins, takes a left, takes a right, beats the goblins, finds the chest. All this stuff would be just happening, and it would say current level, blah, and you could put in like little keyboard commands and find out how the guy's doing. Totally AFK. All you do is run this thing, and you would just check it out, and you get your guy, if you just let it run all the time, would reach levels like 100,000. Yeah, I mean, he'd skyrocket. He'd be this massive dude fighting dragons, and I don't know how long the thing would run, but it used to. They were like little. Those are true AFK, meaning you don't even have to be around. You could come back in a week and stuff will happen. I want to build an AFK. So a lot of games now will call themselves AFK, but really they're not. In fact, you have to spend, kind of like any other free-to-play game, you get in there and you have to spend a bunch of time prepping your guy, suiting your guy, getting them ready. And then they have these little AFK moments where you can send a guy off. And as you get to a point, it's kind of like the point where you're paywalled. That's kind of how they would force it. You get to this point where you need stuff, and you either spend money or you just let your guys go out and journey until they earn stuff. And then you'd earn some stuff, and then you'd come back and you'd spend the stuff. But they would eventually hit a point where they can't go any farther, and they'd stop or get killed, or you'd have to come back and with all the stuff they got, you build up their stuff and you send them on their way again, and then they'd hit a wall. So they could only do so much without you. Literally, you might get hours or maybe eventually a day, possibly without you, but typically they would just keep dying, right? And I was like, this is not AFK, because you're forced to keep coming back and doing stuff. But here's the deal. I have this plan. I have an AFK in mind that I think will be genuinely fun and allow you to do other stuff, have it running. You could even keep tabs on your group, having a little, I want it to be graphical, just like a lot of those are, where you can have this little sim running in the background and be your AFK game going. And your adventurers are out traveling. And I've already put all kinds of notes to this too. And I'm throwing this out there, but it's one of those things I'm thinking will be pretty cool. So you will actually, you enable like text messages, like a lot of games. Oh, you need to come back and play your game because, the world's going to burn down if you don't do this, or blah, 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 whatever. You get various text messages from whatever apps you have, letting you know that, hey, come back and play, right? Well, different to that is these will actually be communication messages. You'll get a message saying something like, your party is camping for the night, or your party had to retreat from the last encounter due to having a couple of guys, near death. You'll get different varying kinds of notifications as to what's going on with your troop. And the game, when you're watching it, I want to set it up in a way that it looks like you're looking at them through like an orb, like you are their overseer and you're watching them. So whenever you turn it on, I want to have it be like a round screen, kind of like, and maybe even a little bit of fog around the outside, and you can see your guys going. So you're like looking through this domain, and you're watching what's happening, and you'll be able to put commands in to say, hey, I want you to do this when you go into battle. You're going to have this. You could set up multiple squads. You could have ones that our jobs are to go in and get your guys out. It's like if somebody dies, you have a backup squad that goes. You could set in a command that says retrieve teammates, and their job would be to go out and go fetch them. So they would fight and try to recover the guys that got knocked out, and they bring you home. And then you have medics that have certain jobs, and you tell them this, and they'd earn different skills and abilities, and and if they need money, like they would send you a notice. Your team is running low on funds. They weren't able to stay in the inn when they got back to town for whatever reason, and so you either got to give them, you got to go back in and maybe have them go out and earn some more gold so that they can pay for stuff. Maybe they spent all their money, or you tell them how to spend their money, when to spend their money, what to spend it on. Next time you go back to town, buy armor, buy gear, and they'll let you know, hey, we found these magical items. How would you like us to distribute them? And you log back in and you can go, oh, let's check out these special items, and go, oh, I want to put this on this guy, and you carry that, and you can assign. They'll keep you involved by letting you know certain things, and you can have as much control or as little control as you want over how they perform in a battle or in their journeying, and you can see what they're doing. Your party has had to retreat to camp outs multiple times these last few days as their encounters are getting to be a little overwhelming. So you're like, oh wow, we got to have. You can go back in and say, all right, we need to send these guys back to go do some training over here, or maybe they go check out this area was a little weaker. You give them different directions and commands to just go out into the world, and you have that control. But the guys will just keep going, and you can just watch them. Maybe it'll take a week before they hit a point where they can't do anything at certain points because you got them built up well. But you're always tweaking their formula to give them the ability to manage themselves for longer and longer periods of time. But they'll constantly keep you updated. You know, hey, we defeated the realm lord of such and such location, or we've accomplished these tasks, and you've earned this kind of notoriety, and you're kind of constantly build them up so you can build up your notoriety for being able to manage this team. So yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty fun little game where you aren't really in control in the same way like you would be in so many of these games where you're either doing everything or most of things, but you're like this grand overseer of these adventurers who are all doing their thing, and they're coming to you for basically guidance, direction, and whatever else you need. And you can buy stuff to help them out, spend real money, or you can kind of give them the direction they need to go out and earn money. Might take them longer, might be harder, but maybe you can give them a little boost. You can do things like medical. You can have medical guys whose jobs is to go out and just learn medicine. There could be training, all kinds of other stuff I can build into this game. And I've got all these kind of cool little concepts that I've been taking notes and prepping it up for to finish that game. Yeah, they could keep dying, if they're not doing well. An indoor studio? I don't know what you mean by an indoor Android studio. Oh, is that what you meant? Android studio? No, I'm using, for this game is Unity, as you know, when I get to it, which should be soon. I'm hoping by the end of April, I'm going to be I'm going to be able to start working on Unity. As I've kind of got a lot of my parts and pieces going here. Then I'll be starting to work the UI. Boy, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm a little nervous about it. But I'll probably stick with Unity for that too. For the other game will get Unity too. But I'm not working on that game yet. Whenever I come up with thoughts and ideas for it, I start adding them to my design list for the AFK game. Because I can't work on two games at once. I'm only one person. So you got to finish one thing before you can work on another. Of course, with AI, I could start having like multiple app developments going at once. All right, we need this, and I'll spend some time kind of going through it, and then I'll go over to the AI and go, all right, work on blah 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 blah, and it'll start building out this little section of the game. And then I'll switch over to my other one, start working on that one a little bit. All right, now you need to work on this, have it build out this section of the game. So you're building it like your own personal developer team, and you start playing manager, and your job is just to be aware of and controlling and setting up the code. You spend a few days on one, a few days on the other, and just keep letting the AI build stuff up. And then AI is not there yet. I think it's getting close. They just did an update in Visual Studio, by the way, that has, I think, significantly improved the edit feature of Copilot. They call it agents. Basically, they took the chat copilot, the chat editor out, or the copilot editor out, and call it agent. So you can go down here and click agent, and it kind of does some of the same kind of stuff that you get like when you use Rue code. So it's actually pretty good. So I've been using it with Claude 3.7. They haven't put the new version of Gemini on here. It's still just Gemini 2.0, but it's been pretty good with Claude. It still gets kind of lost, messed up, just like Gemini does, but I feel like it's been better. I've been getting a little bit further through and haven't had to make it rewrite a bunch of stuff. A lot more of my stuff is compiled. But yeah, I think, then I'd have to have multiple computers going, right? Because I wouldn't have enough space. Okay, on this computer I have the AFK game going. Over here we're working on the football game. Over here we're working on the just keep putting it to work, and then I'll just kind of be like the guy who walks behind everybody going, no, you see, you got this piece of code wrong. We need to adjust that, and you need to make sure this ties into this, and then we're going to have this and that, and then now you can go ahead and fix this. And once you're done with that, we'll go ahead and have you build out this section. All right, let me know when you're done. Go over to this guy and say, all right, well, you got you just be your own team manager. I could see doing that. I say AI might be getting to that point in the next, I give it a year. Maybe by the time I finish this game, or at least get it to that point where it's feeling pretty good, I can open my own AI studio where I'm working with a bunch of different AIs and we're all developing games together. I'll call one Joe, and this over here is Thomas and David, and we got Paul. It'll have to all be voice commands. No, Paul, you got that one wrong. You got the stuff on there all backwards. They're not connected right. Call me mommy when you're done. Is that what you meant? Or call me, or are you trying to say dummy? Call me dummy when you're done. Yeah, well, you got to really get to know your code pretty well. So I know you said you're going to school. So you got to really, if you're going to do more than simple apps, single page apps, I tell you, AI can't do it. Right now, it cannot do it by itself because it is constantly screwing up on here. And so I have to keep constant tabs on what exactly it's, oops, you know what? I have to rename this. I don't use caps. I don't know why I always put caps. It's habit. Dommy, what is Dommy? Dominic. Oh, Dominic. Oh, my name Dominic. Oh, okay. That would explain. Call me Dommy when you're done. Okay. No, it cannot. It cannot. Trust me. You're doing too simple of apps. You have not truly seen. I'm doing it. I'm doing it, man. I have 10 services. All have to interact with each other going through a gRPC gateway. I have this thing examine and review every day, the entire app, and it still loses track of stuff. It's too much stuff for it to keep in its memory is the problem. Once an app gets big enough and robust enough, current AI can't keep track of all the stuff it's doing. It's too much. I have not been able, it has not yet figured simple things. In one moment, I can have it working on 2 different questions for the same process and it'll lose track. Even if they're simple things. I'll okay, just need to correct this function, take a look at this service, and these are the files that are involved. It's all you need. It's simple. There's not much to it. And it'll still screw it up half the time. And I go, oh, but you did this. You didn't consider that this is there. And I told you it was there. It's like, oh, yeah, you did say that. Sorry, boss. It has. It's like, oh, I didn't notice you did that. Let me study it a little bit more. And it'll study it a little bit more. And then it comes back and it's all right, well, you're a little closer, but you still didn't do this or this. And it's like, oh, yeah, sorry, you're absolutely right. I'm like, oh yeah. But no, it cannot. There's nothing to show me, man. I've been working on this thing 4 months straight, and AI drops the ball constantly, and I am putting in super descriptive context a bunch of times, and it's still a simple app is anything that's probably less than 4 pages worth of application, and if it's all on one UI, if it's all in one code base, those are all pretty simple apps. I mean, simple in the sense that, you could have 10 or 15 files in there, but if it's all in the same, like for example, this player service, if this was the entire app, that would be a simple app. Having players and playbook would be a little bit more complex, but for all these things, this is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18, 19. So it's about 20 files. This is a simple app. It's 20 files, and then it has to also, you got to consider that it's also connected to the common app and these proto files. So overall, it's maybe 30 files, and that's just the back end, right? So now I've got just the back end, but then you got to consider, once you start plugging it into the front end, you got the gRPC gateway, which they also have to handle the gateway, which is how it's going to make the calls back to the back-end microservices. And I say this is simple only because it's small, not because it's simple, but you've got a front end. Most apps have only the UI portion. In fact, a lot of Android games that you see out there, in fact, a great majority of them, they have no back end. There is no back end to them. I mean, they may have a database, but that's just local database. But there's not like a services running on the back end. It's just a front end. It's got a UI, some maybe 3 or 4 or 5 pages of code navigation, if that. And then they've got, I don't know, 20, 30 functions. I mean, it may be a few things, but those are not complex apps. Let's look at your Discord. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you think is complex. I guarantee you it's not complex. Not on the grand scale of the way applications are written. What the heck? My Discord is broken. Hold on. Let me reopen it. All right, let's see what this thing is. What is this? Dude, is that all? Is that the whole thing? Wow. That's not very much, man. Authentication, yeah, I have an entire service here dedicated to authentication, but that's just one little piece. Again, you're dealing with one piece: Auth Manager, Battery Monitor, Cloud Kit Manager, Firebase Token Manager. So let's see what this is. Services, models. Yeah, see, I have more files than this just on my front end. My front end alone has more than all this combined. And that's not even counting the fact that it's attached to all these files in the back end. Yeah, but it's a single application. See, that's where it's simpler. So it's a fair amount of files, but that doesn't make it, AI can handle things that are built within a single application a lot easier. With microservices, every service is considered its own little app, and then the front ends are their own little app too. And then on those, when you look at my front end here. This is just the React front end, by the way. This isn't even I haven't even gotten to the UI part. So every one of these is the back end, and these are all the various pieces and components. That's the coach, the simulator. I got all the data parts. I've got here's the actual simulator parts. And then these are the utilities that I got running, and each of these have functions and calls that go back to a back end. Yeah, but you can have the same kind of thing on a non-game. I mean, I had a collector's application, probably had about half as many files as all this, but it was still an application that I had written. My report controller application had more files than all of both parts of this combined, and it was just a application that its job was to run with a batch process and manage the flow of some 300 plus reports, and it had a lot of stuff. So I'm saying the more complex, it is a lot of work, but it's fun if it's something you like. And I think this day and age, with AI becoming huge, schools need to start teaching differently for programming. It's not about teaching as much. I think it's not going to be as necessary to focus as much on teaching languages, but teaching how to read languages. Almost like you're going to want to understand how code is written and why it's written and what makes it efficient, what makes it fast and I don't want to say what, neat, readable, because you need it to be able to be something that can be managed and controlled. And then when you're building an app, you know what you're expecting the AI to do. Because here's the thing with AI. Although it can write code and it can write it syntactically correct, there's oftentimes many ways to do something. And I don't think AI, at least it's been my experience, AI doesn't know the most efficient way to write stuff. AI, it's going to oftentimes, in fact, if you have it write one page that does almost the same thing but for different data on another page, it'll probably write them both completely different. You got to get used to, I think they got to teach you not only prompting. I mean, you're probably starting to figure that out because you've been playing with AI for a while now, but a lot of people when they go to school won't know that stuff. And you need to learn how to prompt in a way that tells the AI, look, this is what I have, this is what I need, and I need you to model it after this so that it continues on and keeps your structures in place. Like one of the most recent changes I had to do with my AI here is I was working with it, and it disregarded the existence of some of my other services. And I go, wait a minute, we were just working with Player and Simulator, and you built all this stuff that's already in Player. And so, oh, let me go back and look at your other code and check this out. It's like, oh, you're right, I shouldn't have done that. And it's just because it loses track of big apps that have multiple sub-apps or other parts. In the case of microservices, you're working with pieces that are outside. So like in this code, this is my web code, but you see each one of these by themselves is an application. This user account, which is actually a pretty small one, but then you've got Simulator, which is its own little app, and they're microservices, which means they're not big. I mean, in the sense that they don't have dozens of files, but they individually start, stop, and process a single task, and they have to run through other parts to function. So now they're working and talking with players and coaches, and each one of those has 10 or so, and each one of these files has their own, pages of functions that have to be called in order to work correctly. So this is a lot of lines of code, all processing just for the coach playbook component, and it just doesn't know, or oftentimes will lose track of individual function calls. And then it'll do things silly like create a new one. And you're like, why did you create that new function? And if you're not paying attention to what it's doing or have a good familiarity with your code and how it's structured, you may allow it to do it. And then you end up having 2 and 3 functions that are doing the same thing in your code, which is going to make it really hard to figure out why. You might know the existence of one and not realize that your AI created another one. And so when you see a bug, oh, well, there's something wrong with the formations. And you go look at formations, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and you do a debug and it's not stopping there, and then you realize later on that it didn't even call this service. It called its own little, it created its own formations function, and it totally ignored your service. And I've seen it do that a bunch of times, where it starts creating calls to the database for things that shouldn't even be managed here. So the whole point of microservices is that they handle what they handle. Players. They get players, the players do stuff, the staff does their thing, whatever. It's all part of the player's process. They save to the database, they do their thing, it's all within the players. The simulator's job is singular. If it needs anything to do with players, what is their medical condition? It doesn't go figure it out itself. It calls the players and calls the medical staff, go and says, hey, how are these players doing? You know, which ones are healthy? What players am I using for the game? Simulator's job only cares about the game. If it needs certain sets of players, it's going to ask the players component to say, hey, who am I using for this play? And that's kind of how it needs to be encapsulated. You don't want this going out and figuring out its own simulations, or its own player staff functions, because then you end up having redundancy. Same thing happening in multiple places. And then you start also having orphaned code, which sucks, because then you really start wondering, what the heck, you know? You're like, can't figure out what functions are doing anything, which ones aren't. And this is why when I was talking to you the other day, I was looking for code analyzers, because you want something that can go through your code and go, okay, well, what functions here are never being called? You know, I wonder if I don't even know if there's a way to, there probably is. I could probably ask AI and have it do its own analysis. You know, what functions in PFFM Go MS are not being called by anything, and see what's being orphaned. I bet you I could probably make it check that. It would have to do a complete check, but still you have to do your own analysis. Sometimes there's apps that'll do that stuff that's built in. You just say, hey, look at this folder structure, tell me what's going on. What is Swift? Is that like a UI thing? Or as in Swift, invalid declaration? Declaration, pretty much real declared code. Are you talking about like TypeScript? Is it like TypeScript? TypeScript is declared code. But it's not about the declarations. It's not really about declaring code. It's about calling code and not leaving anything orphaned, which happens with AI. AI likes to duplicate code a lot. Ow. Oh, is that what it is? iOS. That's why I've never heard of it. That explains it. Oh, I'm going to be doing DoorDash tonight, 5:30. So about 2.5 hours from now. Because they're actually doing pay extra, $2 an hour, or $2 extra per. Yeah, but that only works if it's in the same app. So like, if I was to declare a function in runplay.go, and then the AI, which has done it, create another function in playprogress.go that has the same name, it'll do that. It'll give me an error and saying, hey, this has already been declared. But again, remember, microservices are autonomous. So there's nothing stopping me from having the same function in players as I do in simulator. They might do different things. They might do the same thing. It really makes no difference, because players is its own application. It's its own service. Simulator is also its own service and its own piece. So the AI needs to be aware of what exists and what is happening with the other code so that it's not creating the same function in two different places. Because it is possible that in the player's code, I might do something like grab all the team players, but maybe I'm not grabbing them for the purposes of the game simulation. Maybe I'm grabbing them for display on the screen, or I'm grabbing them for some player management on in the maybe practice screen or whatever I'm doing on the UI, but it still grabs all the players. Well, the simulator needs all the players too, so that it can run the game. It needs the players to run the game. So theoretically, they could both call and get the players, but then they're both making their own database connection for the same thing. And then you end up with the same function doing the same thing. It doesn't matter because they're in two different applications. They would technically function. But if, say, for example, you change the structure of a container or how a certain file is called, now you have to update both those functions, because now they're both going to have to get their data changed, their call different. And it just becomes redundant code, and you're not orphaned or even invalid. It's just not good design. So you say, all right, well, players are managed by the player service. You just make this rule. Players are managed by the player service, period. Simulator, game processing is managed by the simulator service, period. And never the twine shall meet. Never the twine shall meet? Something like that. I don't know. Do you want your twine meeting? I don't know. But so what you do is you have the simulator. If it needs the team, it connects to the players and say, hey, give me the team. And then it uses that same function, gets the team, and returns it back to the simulator. This way the simulator can process using that team. And then if anything ever changes, you fix the things on the back end, and the simulator automatically gets the updates because it just has the correct code at that point. Now, whether or not it has to update or change or manage that in any way, well, that's for you to deal with then. But ultimately, you can create it that way. Yeah, but again, you're working in a singular app, which will protect you from stuff like that. And so if I was only doing simulator service, and I put a bunch of code in there, yeah, I would get errors and notifications, and there'd be clues that I'm creating duplicate calls and duplicate parts and duplicate pieces, because that's one app. And microservice architecture, you're actually creating a bunch of applications. Every one of these is their own application, and they all call each other. And so you could see that when I go like here, I mean, it's going to call out errors like these guys. See this s.player client? This is a call to the player service. But what it's saying is the player service doesn't have this this code. You know, I asked AI to take a look at this, and what did AI do? It's done this a few times. Look, I went up here. Where was it? I go, would you like me to help you search for the proto files in your repository to confirm these definitions exist? I said yes. So what did it do? Absolutely nothing related to the proto files. It starts going through, looking at the fatigue code, and starts dealing with how all of the injury stuff. I'm like, what does this got to do with? You asked me if I wanted this. I said yes, and you went off on this tangent. It's like you can't answer yes. It's like, oh, that was a rhetorical question. I don't remember. What did I ask you again? Here, let me fix this other code for you. I'm like, no. I just wanted you to tell you that this is just a proto definition, and it's one of those things I should just fix myself. Sometimes I give AI too much of my time. AI, I'm gonna type AI. You know what? This one might be one of those I can just do here. Here's the thing. You got to tell AI, no, in fact, I never tell AI not to look at stuff. Unless I'm trying to focus on one little task. Because if you tell it not to look, that's when it starts duplicating things. Because it'll go, all right, well, hey, we need this. And so it'll build it locally. And you're like, no, that exists over here. Oh, well, you didn't look over here. Oh, AI hallucinates a bunch. And that's what drives me crazy. That's what I'm saying. AI is not there yet. I can't have my team of computer AIs doing stuff for me because they can't handle big tasks. Maybe in time it'll help because they'll be able to, like, here's what they need to do normally. You know how they have the thinking versions of code that, go a little deeper, look a little harder? That needs to be standard, but faster. So, plus, you know how Gemini, one of the advantages of Gemini is you're allowed to give it what they call it 1,000,000 tokens, which I guess is 1,000,000 characters. I don't know what tokens are, but it's massive, right? Because most AIs only allow for 100, 200,000 tokens, as they call them, and it's pretty small. And once you fill up a bunch of stuff, that's its memory. That's what it's got in its memory. And as soon as you go outside of that memory, it loses track. It doesn't know what you're talking about anymore, which can be frustrating because you may have started with one task and all of a sudden it's getting things wrong again because it lost track of the root question. Eventually, it needs to create its memory. 8,000. See, that's pretty small compared to the 1,000,000 that you get for Gemini 2.5. And 8,000 fills up really, 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 really fast. And now paid GPT is bigger than that, though, isn't it? Don't you get more for paid GPT? Didn't really tell me the answer there. Yeah. Yeah, and the better you are at prompting AI, I would like to, just out of curiosity, first of all, I don't know how big of a done big Dom. I don't know how big of a command you can give. You know how you can, like, I've done commands to AI that are about yay long. And I'm wondering about formatting. I think formatting is all about you, right? I mean, I don't think the AI cares if you format a request or not. But I think it would be good to, if you want to try something in significance, like something really big, and say, okay, this is what I want. And then just type out a page and a half of logic that you want and see what the AI comes up with. I mean, you'd hope it's at least consistent, right? Like, say I want a microservices architecture that uses this front end, this back end. I want these all parts, and then you go, okay, in the back end, I want this service, this service, this service. This one does X, this one does Y, this one does Z. This front end does this, 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 and then you just kind of give all the detail you can, given every last little bit of knowledge you can. Like literally give it your whole game design document laid out in graphic detail. Even if it's that much code, there's massive amounts of info. And then say, go. And I'm curious just how well it would be able to do that. I mean, a full-on application. Somebody's, you keep seeing these AI can write games doing blah and games doing blah. And I'm like, really? I don't know. Because, they're usually UI games. So it's basically they're building a Unity game or whatever. And it's like, and then they're talking about these huge levels. And they all look, I mean, again, when they're doing those commercials, they're like, they always look really nice, right? But it's like, is it though? Or is that just your commercial interface? This is actually, you took a real game with this little piece, put it on the screen and go, hey, AI's doing this. I don't think it's doing that stuff. I am not convinced that AI is that smart yet. Yeah, I'm going to try it. Maybe one of these days, just as a thought experiment, I'll create this massive document for my AFK game. And I'll feed it to 2 apps. Maybe I'll feed it to Gemini and I'll feed it to Claude. And I'll say, Claude won't be able to handle it because the amount of command is probably going to be, well, okay, maybe I can get it in under 8,000 characters, but it would be a lot. I mean, we're talking probably literally several hundred lines of information to make it work. And then you got to give it to the thinking process, and then you like, all right, come back in an hour and see what it can come up with. Because I've given it big commands that take 5 minutes for it to run, especially when you're running a thinking command. And I think it'd be interesting just to see what it comes up with. The problem is I don't even have the full structure of how the game would be laid out yet for the AFK game. So I would have to keep hashing that out, building that up, and then eventually hand it over to the AI and go, okay, build this, see what happens. Oh, so you're talking about giving it like a document instead? I have given some huge documents to the AI before, but I always figure that just adds, you're just giving it that much text. That's how I got it to write my script for me. I mean, it didn't write the script, but I mean, I gave it like a huge PDF with like 10 pages of a script and said, format this for me into text. And it read the whole thing. It took a long time, several minutes, but it wrote it back and gave me a nice formatted version that I could stick in a doc. And then I saved that as one big PDF, and I gave it to another app, a rehearser app, so that I could study my lines with it. It was cool because then the rehearser app just went through and read out all the characters and formatted it for me. So now I can study my play. Yeah, you have to give it a lot of detail of what you want. And that's what I'm saying. It'd be quite the undertaking just writing the request and then seeing what the AI can come up with. And I don't know. Like I said, it'd be cool to try and see how much of a, maybe if nothing else, I'm guessing it may not get it perfect, but if nothing else, it would build a whole baseline structure, the architecture I need to start the process, right? So it's like, oh, all this beginning stuff is in place. Now I can go through and hash out the details. I got to step away for a few minutes. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. One of the things I've noticed with AI too is when you give it a big command that says a lot of stuff, you want it to do a lot of things, it'll often create functions and pieces and go, oh, we need to have this in there, and we're going to create this, and we're going to put this function, and we're going to blah, 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 blah. And then when it's all done, it's about 75% works because it'll have all these functions. You're like, that function doesn't exist. Were you planning on creating that function? It's like, oh yeah, let me implement that. It's like, yeah. And I've seen that. Like these things didn't exist. It did create them, but it didn't create the stubs to connect them. So it does kind of get off the track. Directly pass the request struct to the determined injury severity. It's the injury severity request. Okay, well, let's see here. What is this? Process player injury. Based on the code in your players.proto and the medstaff.go files, here's how I would fix this issue. Process player injury, determine the severity of an injury, and this function now uses the player service to determine injury. But does that even exist? Is this like a new? Oh no, it's okay. So I see what it's doing. It's replacing this thing. And that's all it did. Okay. Fixed, I guess. All right. We still have a thing here. But still didn't replace that thing. Still didn't fix the main problem. Still have an undefined of this. All right, let me just go open the proto. I'm pretty sure it's like I keep trying to make it figured out, but I don't know why. I don't know why am I so stubborn as to always feeling like I need to make it figured out. See, it's not even, there's not even a function call in here for the player playbook. Is there a get injury severity? Is that here? It's not even there. What are you talking about? First, make sure the proto file defines the determined injury severity RPC method in the player's service. Then update your simulator code to use the correct method name from the client. All right, well, let's go to players. Players, service. I still think the problem is it doesn't exist here. How is it calling the service if it doesn't exist? Get. Yeah, doesn't even exist. I do notice that the chat is a little less responsive. View my players.proto and the players service medstaff.go. What is get home? Look at Discord. Get home just launched a new plan. What is get home? Oh, Copilot Plus. Monthly? Oh, I already paid for a yearly Copilot. I paid for a year of Copilot. So they've obviously cranked it up. Because mine was not that much. It was like $100. But I paid like I paid like a year for mine. Wow. Dang, that's a lot. That is really expensive. That must have came along with the new Visual Studio upgrade. I'm hoping that, you know, I'm grandfathered in. That my one year thing is good, but I don't think I'll be buying again. $400 for a year. That's crazy, man. But I already bought it, and it wasn't this expensive. Oh, that's expensive, man. Wow. $40 a month. That's so over the top. What's the appropriate response to this? What's the appropriate response? What? That's crazy, man. That's the response, I mean. But yeah, I have GitHub for a year, so I have to finish my app or I won't be able to afford to continue going. I have GitHub until I think it's till did I get it in January or December? Wow, that's crazy. Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah, because this only has... I don't know what version I have then, because I only have 4. But it's fine. I have Claude 3.7, which I'm fine with. It's been good. I would like to get one of the upgraded things. So, I don't know. Maybe that's how they're blocking out. Let's see. Let's see what... Oh, I can add a key. Oh, wait, let's go see what this does. Let's go add my API key for Gemini 2.5. Let's see what that does. If anything. Somewhere in here. Somewhere in my code, I'll find my key. There it is. Hey, look, I got Gemini 2.5 now. Copilot. I mean, I guess they figure they're giving you all the AIs, so you should pay more. I don't know. But so I have my Gemini 2.5 here now, Pro XP. I don't know how long it'll work, but yeah, I haven't been huge fan of Gemini yet, but Root Code was pretty good. I don't know. I'm sticking with Claude. Claude's been good. Thing is, I know it has to get better, right? At some point, you know, it still makes enough errors and enough problems and gets it wrong enough that I'm looking forward to improvements. That's why I got to give these other AIs a chance, right? Just to see which ones are actually going to go to that next step where they're just not making as many errors and I'm not spending as much time correcting them, because they're still pretty wonky. I don't know where this get injury severity thing is that it keeps talking about. Get injury severity. Doesn't even exist. Oh, wait. Get injury severity. It's like it just made this up. It says, oh, let's fix this by creating another non-existent thing. It's like, I know how to fix that. We'll just call it this instead. It's like, no, just fix it. Use what I have. This is what I'm talking about. You tell it to fix something, it goes, oh, I see your problem. You need to change the name to this other non-existent value. I see the issue now. Yeah. Yeah, see, now it's like, oh, you mean this proto file and that. Oh, yeah, there it is. There's the proto change I was waiting for it to do. I don't know why I didn't do it myself. I gotta admit, AI makes me lazy sometimes. Like I keep, it's almost like you get to that point where you start treating the AI like I said before, like a junior developer who you're trying to teach, and you don't want to do it for them. You're like, okay, buddy, you need to you need to do it and do it right. I'm not doing it for you. All right, now process player injury, determines the rate of injury, and sideline players, create a new fatigue if it's not there. Since determines does not expose the gRPC service, will use it. No. Dumb thing. It's like it fixes the things like separate issues. I'm like, this doesn't exist. Look at these and tell me how to fix it. And it goes, oh, well, we can't access it because you don't have it in the proto file. So it says, here, let's put it in the proto file. That's what this is. Puts it in the proto file. And then it fixes this other one. Oh, and this one doesn't exist because it's not defined in the proto file. So let's remove it and define it locally. What? Why would we define it? We just put it in the proto file. Why would we go back? Since the determined it doesn't exist, we're going to undo it. Even though I just told you how to make it exist, we're going to not use that because, you know, I don't want to. Oh, man. API players. Who's not using players? Simulator's not using players? Simulator is too using players. What? Players.proto. It must be trying to use them within here. Oh, wait, was this supposed to be added to the simulator service? No, it's player service. I'm in the right place. Okay, next. Hmm. Team play info. That's weird. Why is it saying that? API players photos. Warning. Oh, it's a warning. Warning. Import API players photos unused. Let me ask AI. Let's see if it knows the answer to this. Why am I getting this error when simulator service is in fact using several of the structs stored in the player service API, such as team player, and what else is it storing? Team player. Yeah, all right, team player and player. Probably doing other things too, but. Because your imported players are proto in your simulator file, but aren't directly referencing any of the message types you find in that file. Your message says blah 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 blah. This is happening because you correctly imported it. However, in your simulator proto file, you aren't directly using any of the message types you find in player's proto. Even though your implementation code, game time player status.go, uses types from the PV player, the proto compiler only analyzes dependencies within the proto files themselves. To fix this warning, you have two options. Remove the import. If you don't need to reference any players.proto message types directly in your simulator definition, use at least one message type from the players.proto in your simulator proto definitions. For example, if you need to reference a player in your play progress log. Player involved in the player reference in the actual player object. Huh. Really? So if I was to go team play info, play progress log, maybe that would be better. What if I updated the play? That might even be better. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. That'd probably be good for give me more information and stuff I can reference. This might even simplify some of the stuff that's going on. Player. Actually, I don't want to go player. Let's go team player. And we'll go. This is going to mess a few things up for a minute. Wait, what did I do wrong? It is called player, right? Team player, blah blah blah, player, team player. Yeah, there it is. And then we got simulator. because the team player is already going to have the team player ID, so I don't really need that, but so what's it saying is the problem then? Okay, went with your suggestion and replaced player ID with a team player object from the player service players.proto team player message. However, getting an error that says it is undefined, even though it is imported. Imported players file reference team player type and player message. The warning was about the import being used what is actually being used. The problem might be how the protocol compiler is processing your imports from Proto 3. When you import another proto file, you need to make sure that the import file. Oh, really? I didn't know that. All right, let's try that. API dot. Yeah, I don't know about that. That didn't quite work like you think. And it could be maybe I just didn't make gen. Let's not do that yet. I tell you, it gets this stuff wrong, obviously. We're gonna get rid of this guy. Remove the cycle bin. And we're also gonna go to players and do something similar. Let's see what rebuilds when I do this. Okay, it built. It was happy. Something was happy. It built everything. Still has a red line here, but I think there's some compiling issues that it doesn't much like. It's like it runs. Make gen is okay with all this, but I think the syntax checker gets confused sometimes because like it still complains about this imports, except these work fine. Make gen doesn't have any problems with it. Everything works, but it still complains. So I think there's some syntax issues the way it checks for stuff. It says team player is not defined. I'm pretty sure it's defined just fine. I could probably put this in, but I really don't think it's going to make the least bit of difference. Watch. See, it's still crying about it. I don't think it's going to make any difference. I'll run this. It didn't not compile, but it didn't also didn't work. So I think it's fine. I bet you I don't need this. Says me. If MakeGen is happy with it, I don't think there's syntactically anything wrong with what's going on, but I have to learn to ignore some of these red lines. Because it should normally, if those are truly invalid, it wouldn't compile at all. Okay, let's finish getting this thing working here. So now, let's close this for a minute. This is going to be a big one. Let's see if you can fix this for me. Let's see how smart you are. In fact, I'm even going to go to the agent. I'm going to give agent control here. And we're going to go, we're going to add some context. We're going to go pffm, go folder, pffm, go ms. And then we're going to say, okay, I have replaced the player ID in the, what was it called? in the play progress log, in the play progress log with a team player object. Now the team player object has its own ID for the, no, it has a player ID, team player object, which has a player ID. Along with a lot of the other information needed by various functions in the simulator. My thought is this might simplify, or at least reduce, the number of calls required to get needed information from the, what's going on, man? Or at least, oh, come on, go away. At least reduce the number of calls required to get needed information from the player service. I know this will require some refactoring, so starting with what was that? Team player. What is it called? Play progress log. All right, let's just say run play with runplay.go, and then get player. What is it? Get player. Game time player status. Ugh, it's too long. Game time player status .go. Let's apply this update. Now this is significant. This is one that it's probably going to stumble over a little bit. Thing is, I had it all nice and compile-y. It was almost done, and now it's like, oh, we're refactoring because I've changed stuff. And it's like, oh, great gurgly murgly, man. Like this change should streamline your code and reduce the number of calls to player service. Let's start with updating the simulator service files that interact with play progress log. Looking at the changes needed, I'll first need to update the play progress log.go file to use the team player object. Looking at the code in your play progress log file, I need to update the add entry method to work with team player instead of just a player ID string. Let's modify this first, then move on to updating the others. Okay. Let's see what it did. So we've got getting rid of the player ID, and we're going to have the team player object, which is fine. And then we're going to go down here, and is it player ID? I want to make sure it's calling it the right thing. I think it is player ID. Team player dot player ID. And then we're going to go here. And then we're going to go, okay, so the player ID is, we're going to go team equals player ID, which we set right there. Okay, and then we're going to also have the team player object, which is fine. And then we're going to go down here, going to add entry with player ID. And then we kind of go through and use the player ID using that object. All right, I think we're good. Let's go ahead and keep. Let's go ahead and keep. We'll let that one go. And now we're on the game time player status. Get a minimal team player object with just the player ID. So we're gonna go get that. Now I still think it's gonna apply these things, but I think in all it may even be more I can do. So When you replay ID, I'm gonna see. Okay. If log entry route action player status, get player ID from team player object. We got the player ID. If log entry dot team player is not equal to nil, so we're just checking if it's empty, and then we get the player ID again. All right. So we're just actually taking the player ID out of the object. That's all it's doing, which I guess is the cleanest, simplest way to make that refactor, but it's probably not. It's probably not the most effective, because I have a feeling like a lot of stuff that I'm doing, especially with like fatigue and injuries and a lot of that kind of stuff, is stored in that team player. So in theory, we could just read that team player object and find all the statuses and injuries for those players without actually having to do anything. And I think it makes it a lot more robust, but at the same time, where it's not actually making those changes. It's not making it robust and using that. It's just saying, okay, well, let's use the player ID and go get this from other forms and stuff. Let's continue refactoring to use the team player object in the play progress log. Now that we've updated the play progress log, let's look at run play, which we've updated. Now I'll update the route action functions to use the team player object. These functions are all using log action progress, with just the player ID, which needs to be updated to work with the new team player structure, which we probably just passed in. So it's, but maybe it's not as big of a deal as all that. It seems like it's kind of figuring it out. I still think it's not fully implementing it, though. I think it's just grabbing the player ID and then using it and then doing the same thing it did before. Not ideal. But, the thing is, the play progress log that uses team player, we're going to assign a team player to the play progress log, but it's not really, I guess you can't technically read the play progress log, or you typically don't. But you have the entire player. Come to think of it, I'm starting to second guess my thoughts. Because if I put the team player into the play progress log, ew, what did I do? It seemed like a good idea at the time, but it's not a reference object. It's a log object. As a log object, I might be putting a bunch of crap in there we don't need. Whoops. Why was I thinking that made sense? I mean, it's not so bad attaching a player object, but these are all his statuses where he's at, the team player. But what all is on team player that I really need? All right, so I mean, his stats, that's a lot of crap I'm storing. I don't need all that over there. I mean, I guess I could update. No. Boo. Base stats. Player stat XP. Team depth position. Won't need that injury status. I could log his injury status. That's about the only thing there that's relevant. And these are all like a bunch of states. All this stuff is generally fixed, which doesn't make point. Oh boy. Oh boy. All this was just to try to get that import, not to choke. I want a reference team player, and it knew I was using team player, but it needs to be in the simulator to be Yeah, it needs to be in the simulator in order to keep track of, but or to keep it from blowing up on the compile. Oh, you know what I could track? Oh, yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to track in the log, because the log is about tracking stats. That's really what it's about. And, you know, what did he do? How many yards did he move? What did he do? And does it make sense to calculate the earned experience on a per play level, or should I just do it post game? So I think post game you can run some kind of calculate the XP earned by reading the log kind of thing. I think the advantage to doing it while the game is running I think the advantage to doing it while the game is running is that you can do things like during the game. You can give notifications during the game. Hey, so and so has broke this record, or earned this experience, or has, you know, whatever. Things can happen during the game if you're keeping track during the game. If you don't do it until after the game, you can't really do anything with it until after the game. So things like keeping track of like landmark stats, and, you know, having the game and career stats get hit during a game, you have to track what's happening during the game. Now you can run these processes that'll read everything, but you're either doing that all the time, or you keep track of it as you go, and then when certain landmarks are hit, you can just, oh, you hit this mark or you hit that mark. And it's easier to check against marks than it is to keep recalculating the whole thing. Add all these up, check against this, this, and this. You know, I think my team player object doesn't have some of the key elements that players are going to need to be kept. It's like, okay, there's different types of stats, right, that a player needs. Let's see, store player. Store play.go. Let's go to my types here. Oh, that's playbook. Go away, playbook. I don't need you. Types. Team player. So I've got base stats, which are the things that kind of determine your skills. Player stats XP, earned XP. I don't have things like, I think I need to have various levels of statistics stored. And I'm not keeping any of that. Where am I keeping my base stats at? Like I need like their game stats and their game stats should probably be stored in the progress log, right? But the player doesn't need. Well, no, you need game stats stored too. But you need career stats. Do I store that stuff, or do I just have these massive checks against the log all the time? Yeah, that would take too long to load. I think if you get to the point where you have millions of records, you don't want to be recalculating everybody's stats all the time. Yeah, you don't want. It's got to be something that's like constantly updated. Because I think because for one thing, I'm not keeping logs forever. We're not going to keep everybody's game logs forever. We got to keep it because we're going to keep deleting that stuff. It's too much crap. Game logs are only good for a few days, a week tops. I haven't decided how long I'm keeping them for. But that said, we got to keep their career stats, their game. How do we keep track of game stats, though? You know, things you can look back and say, hey, this many games have been this and this many games have been that. You know, statistics, things that you want to keep. Have cool little functions that can look back at all the games. So I'm going to have like. Gosh, do I have to keep all of the stats? Oh. Game logs don't have to be, they can be summarized by game. So a game log can become a single set of game stats, but I think I have to have some kind of a game log. But we also have to assign. So if I don't keep game logs, then I have to keep game stats. But then those stats have to somehow become player stats. How do we do that? How do we do that? Team player needs to have career stats, season stats. And you could have multiple seasons. I don't know if I want to do a map for that. That could be really difficult to follow. I mean, for two-piece stats where you just have a key and a value, that's easy, but like career stats, we can even call it earned stats or something like that. Base stats are what they get when they come into the game. But I have to figure out There's a lot to solve. There's a lot to solve. Um, Base stats are what you earn. Then we have to have league. No, not league stats, because players can't play in multiple leagues. I mean, they can, but they're on different teams and they're different players and they're treated different. But we're going to have career. How about career stats? Sure. How about thing is, that's an interesting concept. If you trade a player, get rid of him, he has to take his entire team player object with him. Which I guess is fine. He just changes his team ID. You just swap it out. Or if you release him or fire him, I guess he doesn't have a team ID, but he's still a player. Team player without a team. I guess he'd just be a team player without a team. He'd be sitting out there waiting for somebody to pick him back up. Career stats. Now, career stats are just going to be basically all the stats that come with base stats. Problem is, base stats are a season worth of stats. Career stats are a season plus. Is it a season plus? Career stats is, yeah, you're going to have base stats plus whatever earned stats they've got. Base stats plus league earned stats. Okay. Now, the tricky ones become season stats and game stats. And the thing is, there's awards that I'm going to calculate that aren't things you keep track of. You don't have like. I'm going to have to store game stats somewhere. Season stats, what? Would we reset them? No, you can't. You got to have. I guess the question is, what do game stats store? Maybe. I think we have to store game stats as its own object. Just have an entire. And why do you store game stats? That's not a player's thing, is it? Do I store that in the player's object? Players are on teams. I mean, stats are all about the players. But the log, simulator store. See, that's going to be something totally. But I almost wonder if I should just have a service for managing stats. Its whole job is just to run functions and processes and find awards and And just everything just happens in the statistics service. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff it's got to keep track of. There's going to be like run the statistics service, and it would just run, what do you call it, functions to pull all the data together. Just everything you need for the stats. But the player log, right now the player log is going to keep track of everything because I'm not going to delete anything at the beginning. But I do need career stats. But I think league and season, or season and game stats, which are on a smaller basis, it's like I still need to be able to keep track of when they earned all of this stuff. It's like, how do I do player of the week, player of the month, player of the year, MVP of the games? I have to know all these stuff, all these things, in order to give various awards, and then that's when they trigger awards. So that's why I'm wondering if I should just have a stats service that's going to read. It's going to get stuff like the progress log. The thing is, I don't want to keep every line in the progress log, play progress log. I think at the end of the game, I have to, what's the word? Collate, not collate. Collate is this separate and divide. Calculate, I guess. Calculate. I don't know. All of the stuffs, but I also have to be able to do some of that. Yeah, I think I'm going to have, I think I'm going to create a statistics service. This whole thing is about keeping track of statistics. And then I can write functions that'll let you get all kinds of little bits and tidbits out of it. And then I can make calls to those bits and tidbits whenever I want to. From probably the simulator service will be doing that. It'll be going, hey, give me some random stat. So I can put it up on the screen. That's what I'm going to be doing. Throughout the game, you're going to get various random stats. And I want to be able to pull those things. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to have a new service. I think I'm going to have to define a statistics service. I don't need to do it right now, but what I do need to do is go back to simulator. What is this doing? Are you still working on something? What the heck? What are you doing up here? Are you going to complete this task? What's going on? I think it gets, see, when there's a lot of stuff like this. Oh yeah, big mess. It gets stuck. And then I end up with stuff like this, where it's like, where was I? I was doing something. It's that lobotomized goldfish thing. It walked into another room, and it forgot why it went in there. It's like, did you forget something? Maybe. Where's this getting the runtime action? What the heck is this? Team player. So whatever it did, it lost track of this, which should be player.teamid. Player ID. No? If it's a team player should be I almost want to, yeah, man, I almost want to keep track of stats at a player level. It's like these are, his game stats, and then those just sum up into whatever you need them to. You sum them up in the game, you sum them up into month, week, whatever you want. You could just grab them by summing up those values. It should be easy. but you have to have individual game stats per player. And is it better to have those as the team player? Because he'll take it with him everywhere he goes, which is fine. It's just an object. The data could still be separate. It's just going to be pulled in, loaded as an object. Oh, fun. Team player. It is player ID. Oh, but it's capital ID because I did that. Why did I do that? I gotta admit, I'm still in this habit of capitalizing ID, both I and D. I've been doing that for years. My brain has taught itself to do that. And it's, to be honest, causing me. Now I'm starting to think that's not how you shouldn't. I shouldn't do it that way. But alas, I do it that way. And we are going with player, which is going to have. Oh, wait a minute. Player is supposed to be. Are you still giving me that? What the heck? That's not even the right kind of object. What the Nick Noodles? Why are you still giving me this object? That's not the right object. I'm still doing runtime action. What is that? That's team player. That's player ID. Player, team player, which is player ID. Okay. Don't know why that's not working. Player dot player ID. I know that's right. Player T player ID. Oh, it is player ID. What? Oh, because it came from the proto. Well, what? Didn't I just have that though? Cannot use the action player ID variable of type string, as API player team player value is argument to log action progress. Oh, is that expecting a string? Action type. Throw ball. Catch ball. Okay. Oh, it's not even asking for player ID. What the heck? Why don't we just pass this in then? Which is probably good, because you know what? I think I'm going to need their skills. I think the team players are going to have skills, and I'm going to need to be able to read those skills. I didn't even think about that. I don't have skills in their object. There's no skills. I have their base stats, which is just, you know, stuff we accumulate. But there's no skills. I can't tell how good they are at catching, tackling, passing, nothing. I didn't put any of that in here. And yeah, that's a thing. I got to put in their skills. We're gonna go play their skills, and that's yeah, that could be a 1-to-1. That works. That's definitely a necessity. And I'm going to need that everywhere. All those little actions that they do is all going to be based on these player skills. So I'm going to have to be looking up their player skills all the time. So yeah, that's a biggie. Don't forget that one, or you won't be able to do squat with any of your stuff, man. Team player. But I don't remember where I put it. I think it goes here. But I can't. Let's go look at it again. It's types. Like that, and nope. Service? Okay. Nope. What is this? These are the same one. Am I looking at the same file? Yep, looking at the same file. Go away. Ah, there's the proto. All right, so we got ID, team ID, player ID, league ID, and then we need player skills, which is highly important. We need this thing. We're gonna go, what is this? Map, string player. Well, it's not player stats, but it is player skills. Now I gotta fix all this. I don't know why. You don't have to put them in the same order. When you create these objects, they're really not connected. Oh, I don't want to do that. Nope. Nope. It does kind of make that a little easier, I guess. All right, let's fix this. All right. So I've added my new stuff here. So we got we have player skills, base stats, career stats, which I did not put in. So I have 4 things: string, string, double. Oh, I forgot to put one in. Dang, McNabbits. Should I guess they don't really need. I really don't need career stats. I'll just call it base stats or career stats, whatever, because I'm just thinking in my head again. I'm off my thing. All right, so I'm thinking you get base stats, which are what you pull in from a existing player. But you may not ever have base stats. What if your guy is like brand spanking new? He's just a rookie. He's nothing. He's not even from the NFL. He's just a guy the system made up. You don't have any base stats. You may have base skills that are just there and they haven't been calculated because you don't have any stats. Maybe there's some generated. Yeah, I guess everybody have to have base stats because the player skills have to be based off of stats. So maybe you build something, but that would mean I don't want to add in base stats because they're made up nonsense. In some cases, they'd be made up nonsense because it's just the stuff the system makes to create a character. But career stats would be what you actually earn. Here's the thing: skills. I want them to be built off of your season stats, but generally based off of the previous season stats. Though you can earn some updates as the season goes on. And so player skills can get boosts. What I probably would need to do then is have your player skills be one thing, and then we can have skill like earned skills. I have complicated ideas in my head, but it's all to make it realistic. So trust me, you're gonna like it if you're into this stuff. A lot of stuff has an effect. You won't be able to. There won't be a lot of spreadsheets out there that can define everything I've done for this game. Because it's going to be like, well, but this doesn't quite translate. It's like, well, yeah, it helps, but it's not everything there is to know about the game. Because everything, there's so many things going to be involved in how your players progress or don't progress. Um, and I have to do a lot of what do you call it? Game simulations, thousands of them, thousands and thousands of them, to kind of see what kind of game results I'm getting, to make sure that I'm getting, fair enough, and little tweaks and little twalks, tweaks and twicks. That whether they break the game or improve the game, do certain players improve when certain things are happening, that kind of thing. Try to make sure everything's working like it's supposed to. But I got player skills, base stats, which are going to formulate your player skills to start, but then you can increase. And I got to have things like if you improve, I got to track. Maybe when they have, I think every skill is going to have a skill modifier. So you have skills, and then you have skill modifiers. And modifiers are what you can earn through play, experience, whatever. You can make your guy better through modifiers. Because the skills themselves can change based on how your guy plays. If your guy plays, you get base skills. But you get to keep your modifiers. So you still have the experience. Like you still play 10 games. You still got better in your mind. And certain things, you learn basic things better. You became more technically correct in your play, but stats don't necessarily show it. So your skills kind of went down, but you have these modifiers that you're going to be able to apply towards the next season. And as you get more seasons under your belt, you might get better modifiers, and maybe you'll eventually start having really good skills that show. I mean, your stats will start to come up with you as the modifiers help you, which can improve your game. But if you have a bad year, you still have a modifier that. So the game's going to actually adjust to how you actually play. Your guys don't play well, maybe they're not as good as they were. Doesn't mean they don't have the experience and the know-how. It just means they're not howing. It's like those that can't do teach. Maybe it's time for you to become a coach. It's like, you know everything there is, but you can't quite seem to execute anymore. So it's like that. So I am going to create a new thing here, because we're going to call it skill modifiers. It's also going to be a simple thing. We're going to say, let's put a little descriptor in here. Skill improvements. Skill adjusters, modifiers, all right. That come from experience, points, training, etc. Yeah, that works. And so this is experience, which will affect the modifiers, and then the modifiers can affect your skills. But the modifiers are just a thing. So when you get them, they immediately apply to player skills. So this way everything reads off of player skills. And player skill are, no, it's always, wait, that's not going to work. Because you got your player skills. Maybe I should call them adjusted skills. This will be, because I don't know if I want to have two different fields. Do I need to keep track of base skills? I wouldn't think so. We calculate their skills based on their season. Plus modifiers. Previous season based on their modifiers. And then plus modifiers. So what are player skills? Skills are calculated based on imported, or no, based on previous year stats plus earned skill modifiers. What is that? Plus what? Potential stats. No. No. Skill modifiers that come from experience points, training, etc. Modifiers are tweaked and adjusted according to potential. Now, potential, by the way, is not max. It's estimated potential. I don't believe in shoehorning potential. Now, the better your scouts are, the more accurate your potential will be. But your potential views are going to be. But ultimately, there's never a sure thing, right? People always get drafted based on potential. You don't draft a #1 pick if you didn't think he was going to get better, because obviously he's not good enough now. But if you think his sky's the limit potential, and he comes in and he tanks, just means your scouts got it wrong. You know, Ryan Leaf, you know, big plans. He was drafted before all kinds of people. Well, no, not all kinds of people. He was drafted before, who was it? The San Diego QB. I don't, not Drew Brees. Who was, dang it, can't remember his name. But Ryan Leaf was a big, fat, hairy, crash and burn, what is it when you flesh out? No. Something out. Fail out? Fallout? No. That thing where you're no longer in. Basically bombed, right? He was a major failure. They expected him a lot. Yeah, sky's the limit. Ryan Leaf was a guy, though. If you really, apparently, when people look back, they're like, "Why did we think he was going to make it?" It's easy in hindsight to go this, that, or the other thing, and then you realize, I guess that's not really a thing. Players. Let's go back to where I was. Map, player skills, skill modifiers. I guess I do need skill modifiers in here. I'm putting in all kinds of junk now. Let me go back here. Because I have to calculate. I'm trying to figure out if I want to sum these or make my apps always have my. I can't. They need their skill modifiers. Oh, I know. I got it. All right, we're gonna do this. All right, so we're gonna have this map string comma string blah blah blah. All right, so this is not going to be player skills though. It's going to be skill modifiers. Skill modifiers. All right, so we have skill modifiers. Team player. What else do I need in here? Player static. Okay, so we got ID, team ID, player ID, league ID, player skills, skill modifiers, XP, which is XP earned, 7. And then we're going to go blah, 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 6, 7, 8. We're going to go skill modifier XP, skill modifier XP. So then we have base stats, and then I have to do my career stats, which can change during the game, I suppose. Still not totally sure about why I'm passing all this stuff, but... Career stats, and then we got player stat XP, general earned XP. So there's a lot of ways you can get earned XP, but so you can do XP that's going to improve your stats. You got player. Oh, wait a minute. Player. Wait, why do I have? How did I end up with 2 stats? We got player stat. Oh, I can. Oh, player stat is a generic one. Map of XP earned. Map of XP earned for each stat category. Oh, wait a minute. What is that one? Map of XP earned for each skill modifier category. Wait, what? Skill modifier category. Did the AI squeeze something in on me that I didn't notice? I think somehow it squeezed something in on me. I don't think. Because this is the skill. XP map of XP earned for each stat category. Actually, I think I'm just going to have skill modifier, and this is a map as of each skill category. But you don't earn XP for stats. Do you? No, stats aren't a thing. Skills are things. Skills are what you get better at. Stats are just stats. I don't think you get XP for stats. I mean, there may be XP you earn for building stats. Like if you get 1,000 yards rushing, maybe you'll get some XP. But it'll go into a skill modifier that goes with the rushing stuff. But you might earn some XP. But no, I don't think I need that one. Let's get rid of, what is it? Player stats XP? I don't need that. That's just, no. I don't need that. That's gone. Alright, so we got career stats, general earned XP, position. I'm going to get rid of position. Position is no longer a thing. That's kind of an over. I only need team depth position. This is what positions they can be in, with the first one being their primary. And then every secondary. Most guys are only going to have one position in there, but some might have 2 or 3. And this just allows us to like a linebacker who's first left linebacker or inside linebacker may have to fill in at the other spot if he's, maybe he's also a third strong safety or something if he's available. But most guys who have a 1 in a spot are not going to be a 1 somewhere else or a 2 somewhere else. I guess you could. I mean, I guess a corner could also be a number 1 kick returner. He might be your number 1. I don't know why you'd want your number 1 corner being also your number 1 kick returner, because kick returns have a higher chance of injury, and then you end up getting hurt, and then you lose your number 1 corner, and then your team loses all the time because you're a stupid coach. You put your guy in. A lot of times those guys are like 2nd or 3rd kick returners. They have guys who are set for that, but all right. What happened here? All right. All right, we'll save that, and then we can go down here and make gen again. All right, so now, I don't like that this one doesn't clean itself. See how it left this thing all out of whack? In fact, it even went ahead and called it its own. That's just weird. All right. Fixed dish for now. For this day's worth of changing my mind. Okay, so we've got that in place. Where are we? We've got the testing, route actions. So yeah. All right. What did I did? I don't think anything I did is going to break anything, so I haven't actually called it. Log entry, team player, player ID, log entry, team player dot player ID. Why are you play progress log? Process all entries in the play progress log to restore fatigue status. Oh. Only process entries that contain player status information. Get player ID from team player object. Log entry dot team player. Play progress log. Game state. Oh, we do have a. What is why doesn't it like that? If log entry.team player, why is this saying it's not a thing? Has no field or method team player. Yeah, it does. Don't lie to me. What are you talking about, man? Are you like confused? Well, you're wrong, so I'm not gonna. I don't know what to tell you, man. You're wrong. It does have it. See, it's got the wrong thing. See, play progress log, player ID, but that's not what's in team progress log. It's team player. Huh. It does that all the time where it loses track. You have to like, I don't know how to force it to re-update itself. Oh, are we still complaining about this? All right, I'm gonna close this for a minute. Oh, I was gonna show. I totally got distracted by this. I was gonna show the achievements that Watcher of Realms does. It's actually. They still use the same one. They haven't updated this in a while. No. Switch to an existing account. Here we go again. And then if you go more than a day or 2 or 3 or 5 without logging in, it's like a million things. And I gotta be honest, I'm not.
Will know balance.
I'm not totally sure what I think of that. I am like, if I come into this game, look at all these dots, right? I mean, there's just like, they have stuff. I mean, it's great that they're on top of it, right? They have all these game news, event notices. They constantly have stuff, which is, they keep, is there, I guess my question is there too much? Is there ever a point where you're in a game and you're like, all right, I get it, you know? I see this as too much. It's just goop upon goop. They must have like 1,000 people working on this, right? They have all kinds of stuff. I think it's cool in a way, but there's so much in here, right? And would it be cool, like, if I kept adding stats to the games for players in the league, that, but rather than doing it seasonally or for, you know, like I could add the next season or whatever, but then I can just add like every 3 to 6 months, or maybe even every once a month, I add 1 or 2 new historical players. You know, I built some stats up, and now you have so and so 2010. You know, so and so enters the league or whatever, enters the fray, and then now they could come up and be in a league setup draft. My thought is that players that you get from the actual stats of leagues and such like that, they would be players available to brand new leagues. Yeah, but then people who have leagues would be like out of luck. So you'd have to be able to get away with it. But look at this. I log in. Everywhere you see a little gifty symbol. Got one over here. You got one here, 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 here. And then it's again here. And the more stuff you click, you get more. So I could click for like, it would probably take me 10, 15 minutes to get all my stuff. Just clicking on everything, you know, going here, I have to go collect this one. And I don't know, what is all this? Recommended guilds, I don't want to do that, go away. Claim. Alright, so we go here, and then I go back here, then I gotta go here, and I close this. Go away. Every time you leave Windows. Alright, so we go here, I click on that one. I'm not getting all these because I haven't been playing, but so you go here, and then you got this one with a gift, and that one with a gift, and that one thing. There's so much stuff. And then these are just like little notices, which don't even let you do anything. What consumed the 2 I got? Oh, goody. And then we got the Immortal Codex, which is just informational. All the red dots are just informational. They don't do anything. So, but you could click forever. Just clean. Look, and then now that one's got a thing again. Got a daily quest. So I've learned that I don't keep claiming daily quests until you're done with everything. Get them all at once. All right, so then I go to this quest, and I haven't even played the game at all, right? So it does all this. I mean, hey, leave me a chat message. You know, leave me a message somewhere in the comments or whatever. Do you like all this stuff? Is this the kind of thing that you like? Just constantly collecting and having to click everywhere? Or would it be better to have the rewards and earned stuff all be in one place? I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, I guess to know that every one of the things that you're doing, where the heck? I don't know where this, oh, I have to go here to get this. Or maybe. I don't know. There's usually a thing like that, but if I click on that. Is it way over there? Oh, there it is, daily luck. Jeez. And then they have return privilege. All these things, all these are money. So my game's not gonna, I mean, you're gonna have, I'm gonna try to have things where you can buy things that you want. But there's so many things you can buy in this game. Like buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. I mean, everything's a buy, right? I mean, there's thousands. You could spend boat tons of money for things. So if you want certain guys, you can try to build up these. Oh, look, that one's a great offer. The other ones are crap offers. This is a great offer. But see, and then you got the Odyssey. I'm only 37. It goes up to 82. So these are the achievements you can earn along the way. You get things. You earn this little bit. You earn this thing. I can't even. I've tried to. I'm stuck here because I haven't been able to beat that. But there's only so many. Like if I go to the so then you got these artifact promotions, and you can see I haven't done much of any with these. I haven't even been able to get some of this, so it's not. But where is the? I forgot how to even get to the storyline on this game. Oh, here it is, campaign. So here's this is like the end of the game, right? It only goes up to 17. That's the end, 9:17, and I'm at 9:1. And you know, I've gone through all the chapters, 8 chapters before it, and I don't believe. Have they added new stuff? Oh, looks like they have added some. I don't think these existed before, so they've added a lot of stuff. They've been adding and making it more and more. And then there's different levels of this. So you can go to expert. Hard, it says I beat it already. Yeah, there is no extra piece in hard. I beat all the chapters in hard. And then there's expert, which I have a little ways to go. And you can see normal's got goes all the way up to 456. And then this one only goes up to chapter 8, but I'm only getting to 7 because it's harder. But that's what I'm saying. There's so many things, and everything you earn a little bit further along. They're like your achievements. And the big achievements are Odyssey, and you know, here in the is it this one? I don't remember. Storyline. Storyline's caps out though. If I beat these 3, I think you're done. There's no more story. These are sub stories. I've already beat the main things, I guess. But that's what I'm saying. There's achievements everywhere. I think it's kind of cool to keep getting them, but you got to figure out, you know what? I don't know. Clicking everywhere, is that cool? I mean, spending 10 minutes just picking up stuff, which is kind of like, oh look at, I've got 8,000 of this energy. I could play right now if I wanted to for like I could play for several days, unless I wanted to. And I think it's kind of good because it makes you come back a little bit and say, hey, look, I have all this stuff. I can go, I can do like a ton of these raids and try to get back into the game a little bit. You know, I could start playing and run a bunch of resource raids and promotion raids, gear raids, try to get my stuff and make my guys better. I just found that I was starting to just, I was always, what do they call it? Just gear, gear optimizing or whatever you want to call it. And it just kind of got a little tedious. So I haven't, what is this? Privilege card, expiration notice. Dear Commander, your privilege card is expired. To ensure your privileges in TIA, you may tap the renew button below to renew the card. I don't know what this means. What the heck is a privilege? What the heck is a privilege card? Enjoy more auto fights, more XP. I never bought a privilege card, so I don't know what the heck this is. But it's a way to spend money, and maybe they gave me one for a while. You know, like a free thing. You get more stuff. I don't know. I don't need that. So we'll do it like that. I don't care. But so this game has a ton to do when you're not playing, or not when you're not playing, but when you're not paying. But there is a, you know, there's only so much. What is this? Oh, tide? Oh, I gotta clean the loot. I got to like 130, so this can go to 130. It goes up to 150 something, I think. Might be 160, I don't know. And I haven't been able to get past that either. Because you have to do all this gear rating and junk, you know, you have to, do I not have enough for any talents? I guess not. Yeah. Alright, so, clean that. So I'm saying, you got don't collect your dailies and weeklies until you're all done for the day. Then you come back and collect it. I used to just try to complete all of the stuff on the dailies and the weeklies, and then that would be what I did for the day. But anyway, let's close this. All right, so I just wanted to kind of show how all that stuff worked. I collected my stuff. I've got boat tons that I could go in here and do some summons if I wanted to. What's good? Anything going on that's fun? Crazy invocation. What is this? Chances up 2 times for a legendary hero. How many do I have? 29? Crazy divine. Do I have any of these? Alright, let's do this one. I don't think I've ever gotten a legendary out of this. Purple?
A priest, a guardian.
Just because I can. No, nothing too spectacular. Yeah. Whatever. Okay, so let's see. Let's do a quick one of these. Nothing good. Crap. Yeah, she's okay. Crap. What's a crap? This is one where you get special people with a chance of 15, but I already have all of these, and I don't even know who these guys are. Is she new? Magda? What do I know? I don't know anything about this game. I didn't know much about this game when I was playing a lot, to be honest. I mean, really, I was like, people would say, that's a good character. I'm like, really? Is it? So, yeah, people would just, they'd be telling me how good my stuff was, and I'd be like, okay. I'll take your word for it, man. How can I do it 10 times when this says... Oh, I don't have enough. Okay. Wait, I can't do crystals. Unless I do what? I have to do all of those before I can do any of those? Do you want to redeem? Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can get a legendary. Look at this, man. This is terrible. Whatever. This will burn through stuff in a heartbeat. That's a more purple crap. Sheesh. At some point I'll have to come back and... Oh, this is even worse than the last ones. I don't think I even got a purple in that one. There's a bunch of garbage dudes. Get spiritual altar points. Yeah. So now what do I do? Oh yeah. I have to go over to my... No. I have to go to my heroes.
Their souls are mine to
I'll do a
take.
quick star up. Oops. How do I have a max hero capacity already? Oh, stop it. Well, I'm almost out of money already. And there she blows, man. All the money is gone. I'm all out. I'm poor.
Their souls are mine to take.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's that. I just wanted to kind of show how they're handling their achievements and that kind of thing. But okay, so I've got about 15 minutes or so. Let's see if this now acknowledges that I've actually created those things. It looks like it sort of does. Let's go here. Simulator's getting close. So this guy's problem is player ID. Player, I don't see it still doesn't want to acknowledge this being an object. Oh, it's because that is the wrong object. What is player? This is supposed to be what, team player? Let's see, so if this is runtime actions takes a runtime action, which has a player in it. What is calling, See, I wish these were running the same way. This is one of the things AI tried to do things differently for two different purposes, even though they should be pretty much functioning the same. And I don't even know, why does runtime action have to be its own action? I mean, why does that have to be called action? Runtime action. Runtime action, that's the action type. And this is a constant runtime action type. Oh, okay. Well, I'm wondering if the best way to do this is just have it rewrite route actions to be along the same lines as runtime actions. I just want it to be formatted the same. I kind of like the same structure to be used. For consistency, let's make the route actions.go function slash function in the same way as the runtime actions.go. To make by making the calls similar and the by making the call similar and same type structs. Let's make the route actions.go function. Let's refactor. Refactoring, a massive major thing that I keep doing all the time. Because there's no reason, although these actions are different actions, it's just basically the timing of when they're called. And I'm just separating them. Already? Are they already doing it?
I'm gonna hang these up and then head out.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go out too, but probably leave in a few minutes. Like I say, this code editor now is better. It has gotten way better from what it was in the previous version of Copilot. So I could recommend it more now than I could like yesterday, because I just downloaded it today and it said, "Welcome to the new version of VS Code with agent blah 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 blah." And I'm not even using the agent. I probably should have used the agent right there. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know what the difference between agent and edit is, to be honest. They kind of do the same thing. But I think agent is a little bit more thorough, I want to say. Is it still doing? I can't select any of this yet. I can't select it. What are you doing? Did it only change one thing? What the heck? Whoa. Oh, it did that. Player target point. Huh. I still feel like that's going to be wrong. Just hasn't realized it yet. I mean, it made it consistent, but this is not using, it did not format it the same. Look at runtime actions. Runtime actions is using, it passes a progress, oh wait, nope. Okay, so, nope, yep, nope, yeah, handle throw ball. See, action, runtime action. This is totally different. This is like completely different. And why are they handled different? I want them to be formatted the same. Let's go to agent, see if agent's any better. Done. I mean, what are they called here? Route actions? They're called action hitch, action go. And then this one's called handle throw ball. Runtime action handler. I don't know if I like it this way. To be honest, why are we using handlers? Runtime action handler manages runtime actions during play execution. Pending actions. This feels like this might be over engineered. Runtime action manager manages runtime actions during play execution. Creates a new runtime action handler. Queue action adds a runtime action to the queue. Queue. What do I think of that? Processes all pending runtime actions. Process actions in order they were queued. Huh. Throw ball, catch ball, fumble, recover, tackle, interception. No, it's just like you throw them all in there. So as things are happening, that's actually might be good. As things are happening, because that means you can do things like you have this so you say throw ball, a bunch of stuff happens. Let's see if I can get this to do so. Let's see. Take a good look at the runtime actions.go. These are things that are not assigned as part of the play design, but are key elements of a play and will happen at various points in a play and or game. There is a queue action function that triggers each action as they are happening. Route actions.go are the assigned steps in a play for each player that also happen throughout a play and oftentimes will trigger the runtime actions. That said, I would like these both to be set up in the same way and use similar function signatures for consistency. And since they must work in conjunction with each other, consistency. And Readability. Let's see if this does a better job of attempting to correct the problem. Now, I'm at 5:22, so I am going to have to call it for today. And now, for future sessions, this week I will be on my other channel, Active Mind Games Dev. Check it out if you're interested in following this game as it gets going. And I'm hoping I'm back to the UI at least for a little bit this week as I get all these things kind of ironed out enough that they're compiling. I can get all my services up and running again with all this new functionality. And then I can start finally getting back over to my UI, start building up plays, and start getting some stuff going. There's a lot of data input I got to do now. I got to create plays and more robust game plans, which means I'm probably going to have to do more editing to get some parts functioning, like the special teams and all that going. But there'll be a lot of data entry to build up me a good source of underlying data. And then hopefully I can start getting to that point where I'm able to start running simulations again, actually running from the back end, and start implementing some of these new features and functionality that you see I built into my code. So yeah, there's a lot going on. It's going to be an exciting next few weeks. Hopefully by the end of April, I will have my simulator working. Maybe not with all the features in place, but a lot of them will start to kind of be called and tweaked and things will happen. I may even start returning some dummy data because I don't want to necessarily implement all the logic, but maybe I will do some logic. But I would like to get the simulator just to start running through, even if it's, not doing much. But then I can start implementing each piece and start having players execute their parts. I got to import data. I've already started the process of building up the data imports, and then I can start building up skill logic, which I already have some. So I got to put those formulas in, start building that out. And think that's it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I have April here to try to get some base stuff in play because I'd really like to have my simulator kind of working by the end of April with fairly in-depth amount of logic. And where are we? We're April 6th. Yeah, I got a pretty good shot. Things have been going pretty good. And then get into Unity, start building some UI. I actually, a lot of my UI is right now in React, but that's just part of it. Eventually both parts will be there. I just keep building stuff up, new stuff. At the 6-month mark, what am I at? 94 days? Now I'm talking about 6 months of work. That's 180 days. So it's like double what I've done so far. Now, if I'm consistent, able to keep working for the next 90 days, I might be able to make that pretty quick, but we'll see how much I'm able to get done. 90 days of dedicated development. You can see I did 93 days, but because of so many other things, I still got to try to find a job. But I'm praying that God has something in mind for me that allows me to finish this and make this my job. And maybe that's you. You can support me. Who knows? In any amount. Yeah, anything. If you subscribing is supporting me, that helps me build up some viewability. You can check out my Indiegogo. Be sure to log, put in your email, and I will let you know when we're about to launch, which will probably be soon. I do plan to run a lot of these Indiegogos. A lot. Every couple of months, I'm going to try to run them to try to build up some interest. And as I get new pieces in place, but I can't. I want to launch it when I have a UI. I have a UI now, but everything's working, and I can take pictures of what I've done so far, put them into the code, and then I got so much to do. I'm excited because it's just flowing, lots of happening, and it seems like every few weeks I've got some new major piece of functionality in place. So yeah, check it out, Active Mind Games Dev. That's where I'll be developing my day-to-day development. Some days I'll be hitting bigger landmarks. So far I feel like I've made huge strides in my simulator. I did not plan to do all of the individual parts and pieces of these functions, and here they are. They're all there ready to run. I just need to start putting in their little pieces of logic, and that'll be fun, getting all that going. First thing I'll do is just start trying to put in pieces to have players move. And then once all the players move on a play, I'll do other parts, start having them run the ball or start moving the ball around. Maybe I'll do something like randomly move the ball but have the players shift. I'm thinking about using something like framer motion on React to just try to get stuff going. Maybe I'll put dots or some little player objects. I don't know. I want to start getting some UI stuff to kind of make it just start looking like something, like more than just what it was. It's exciting to see all this stuff coming together. I can't spend too much time in React, even though I want React to do all this stuff. I also want Unity in there, and I got to start playing with Unity before this can become an Android application. Till next time.